The single father stood in the middle of the crowded luxury hotel lobby with cold steel locked around his wrists, while two police officers held him as if he were a dangerous criminal. Across the marble floor, a powerful female billionaire watched with folded arms, certain that her money and influence had finally crushed the men who had embarrassed her. But then the elevator doors opened, and a decorated SEAL commander stepped into the lobby. The moment he saw the handcuffed father, his face went pale. He walked straight toward him, stopped, and raised his hand in a military salute. "Sir." The entire lobby fell silent. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can change a person's life, second chances matter, and people should never be judged by appearances, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to Echoes of Kindness. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories like this to life. Daniel Carter had spent the last 5 years rebuilding his life after losing his wife. He was raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, alone, working long hours as a maintenance supervisor while doing everything he could to give his little girl the childhood she deserved. He owned no expensive car, wore no designer clothes, and never talked about his past. To most people, he looked like an ordinary exhausted single father trying to survive. But there was a part of Daniel's life he had buried so deeply that even Lily knew almost nothing about it. That morning, Daniel had brought Lily to the Grand Meridian Hotel because he had been hired to repair a serious electrical problem before an important charity event. The hotel belonged to Victoria Sterling, a female billionaire whose name appeared on magazine covers around the world. Victoria was preparing to host hundreds of wealthy guests when Daniel accidentally discovered something disturbing. While checking an electrical room, he noticed that several safety systems had been deliberately disabled. If the building became overcrowded during the event, one small electrical failure could turn into a catastrophe. Daniel immediately reported what he had found. Instead of thanking him, Victoria accused him of trying to create panic and sabotage her event. She had already been dealing with a rival company attempting to damage her reputation, and she believed Daniel was part of the scheme. Her anger grew when Daniel refused to apologize for reporting the danger. In her world, people usually became quiet when she spoke. Daniel did not. Within minutes, security surrounded him. Then the police arrived. Lily stood nearby, frightened and confused, clutching the small stuffed rabbit her father had bought her after her mother died. Daniel tried to stay calm because he knew his daughter was watching. He kept his eyes on her and silently reminded himself that she needed to see courage, not fear. The officers placed handcuffs around his wrists while Victoria watched from several feet away. She believed the situation was finished. Then the elevator doors opened. Commander Michael Hayes stepped into the lobby wearing his formal military uniform. He had arrived for the charity event as an honored guest, but the moment his eyes landed on Daniel, everything changed. He recognized the men immediately. The tired father in the white shirt was not an ordinary maintenance worker. Years earlier, Daniel had been one of the most respected special operations officers in the military, a man whose bravery had saved the lives of an entire team during a dangerous overseas mission. Daniel had left the service after his wife became seriously ill. He chose his family over medals, promotions, and recognition. After she passed away, he never returned to the spotlight. He simply became a father. Commander Hayes stepped forward and saluted him with complete respect. The billionaire's confidence disappeared. The officers slowly loosened their grip. Victoria stared at Daniel as the truth began to sink in. The man she had treated like a disposable employee had once been the person senior commanders trusted when impossible missions had to be completed. But Daniel did not use his past to humiliate Victoria. Instead, he pointed toward the electrical room and explained that the danger was real. Commander Hayes immediately ordered the area secured. Technicians discovered that Daniel had been right. Someone had intentionally tampered with the hotel's emergency systems. If Daniel had not spoken up, hundreds of people could have been placed in serious danger. Victoria's face changed completely. She walked toward Daniel, no longer looking like the billionaire who controlled the room. She looked like a woman who had realized she had judged a good man without knowing his story. She apologized, not because she had to, but because she finally understood the damage her assumptions could have caused. Daniel accepted the apology, but what mattered most to him was Lily. He knelt beside his daughter and wrapped his arms around her. Lily finally smiled through her tears. Commander Hayes watched quietly, knowing that Daniel had never needed a uniform to prove who he was. His greatest title was simply being her father. Victoria later offered Daniel a senior position overseeing security and safety for her foundation, but Daniel asked her to make one promise instead, that she would never allow wealth, fear, or appearances to decide how someone deserved to be treated. Victoria agreed. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it, and subscribe to Echoes of Kindness. Sometimes one small act of kindness can remind someone that the world still has good people in it. And before the story ends, comment, "Kindness sees beyond appearances," if you believe every person deserves to be heard before being judged. Daniel walked out of the hotel that evening holding Lily's hand. He had entered wearing handcuffs, surrounded by strangers who thought he was a criminal. He left with his daughter beside him, his dignity untouched, and the respect of a commander who knew exactly who he was. The billionaire had learned that day that true power was not measured by money, titles, or influence. Sometimes the strongest person in the room was simply the exhausted father who refused to let fear stop him from doing what was right,